It's season 2 of our Youth to Gold save with VfB Stuttgart, a save where I desperately try and sell anybody over the age of 30 or even anybody close to the age of 30 and replace them with a bunch of teenagers who probably can't play football at the moment. Point in case is Mikel Gonzalez, who's an 18-year-old centre-back who I spent a few £1 million on, and he's not even close to being good enough. However, he is worth £13 to £16 million, so maybe one day in the future he will be. In Season 2, we are kind of in a bit of a predicament because we have 4 players who, in theory, we will need to be selling over the course of the season. We have Dahoud, Stenzel, Anton, and Karazor. Stenzel is out of contract, so we don't need to worry too much about him. However, Dahoud, Anton, and Karazor all need to leave the club, and 2 of them are worth £30 million apiece, and they are also all from the same positions. We've got 2 centre-backs and 2 defensive midfielders leaving the club, so we definitely need to replace them. But the good news is, we do have £106 million to do so, plus any money that we bring in from selling these 3 players as well. When it comes to on the pitch, we are in just 2 competitions this season, the DFB Pokal and the Bundesliga. We are not in any European competition because we just missed out. We just missed out on Europe last season because we dropped down to 8th place. 7th place would have got us Europa Conference Leagues. Maybe Season 2 could be the season where we use this as a season of building. Speaking of building, let's jump forward then to the end of the first transfer window. Let's see how much of this £106 million we have spent. And also, let's see who we've sold. I'm going to start off with a little bit of a teaser. We have dropped from £106 million of transfer budget to £81 million of transfer budget. And we have sold some big players as well. So we've had a pretty expensive summer, I reckon. £58 million worth of players have left the club, and I'll let you try and work out the maths to see how much money we've actually spent. Kevin Situ, first up a player who joined in the first season for us. He's immediately left. He's gone to Schalke for £110,000. For £220,000, a player that came through our youth intake last season, Gregory Blake, has moved over to BMG. One of the 30-year-olds that we needed to get rid of is Mahmoud Dahoud. He has moved over to Werder Bremen. He has gone for £2.1 million, possibly going up to 2.6. We've actually made a profit on him, which is kind of a surprise. One of our higher goal scorers from last season is Juanmi Latasa, but unfortunately this season he is not going to be a goal scorer for us because he has moved over to Getafe in his native Spain for £2.4 million, possibly going up to 2.7. Saud Abdulhamid has also moved on. We brought him in last season, and by we, technically the previous manager brought him in last season on a free transfer, and I've already shifted him on to Crystal Palace. He has gone for a nice £18.5 million, which is good money. Good money for a player that, realistically, we should have never had in the club. And for possibly £41 million, Silas has moved over to Saudi Arabia, signing for Al Ali. It's a huge chunk of money for a 27-year-old. It's 32.5 up front, possibly going up all the way to £41 million. I didn't want to get rid of him, but when that money came in, I was like, it's too good to turn down. He was starting to get upset because he's now on £500,000 a week. So I thought, you know what, let's take the money. We've got some youngsters. We can obviously reinvest as well. The other player to leave has not technically left yet, and it is Vladimir Anton. He has moved over to Leeds on a loan deal, but it will be becoming permanent at the end of the season. This was kind of the only thing that I could really do. Do we even know? Can we find out how much this is for? I'm assuming £24 million. But yeah, Anton has moved to Leeds. I didn't obviously want to do it, but he's 30, and that's the rules of Youth to Gold. And joining the club for a total of £74 million. Okay, Lewis Allsop is the first one. He has not cost £74 million. Signing from Shrewsbury, an 18-year-old, he is definitely one for the future, but I actually quite like him now. He's very fast for a centre-back. He's a quick centre-back, which is good. He's cost £400,000. Moving up to a player that's cost £3.7 million is Elkin Arbeloda, who is a Colombian youngster, 18 years old. He's already gone out on loan to Heidenheim. He wasn't going to get game time this season. He's played once in the DFB Pokal, I assume for Heidenheim, scored a hat-trick. It was for Heidenheim. He's actually doing really well. He's either scoring or getting assists. Amazing. For £3.8 million, we have signed from Bayer. We have signed Noah Meyer. He's an 18-year-old central defender, 2 under-21s caps, and a goal to his name as well. He's got a weird shape. I'm not too convinced by this. He's better mentally than he is aerially. For a centre-back, that could be worrying, but I think it's okay. I think it's his jumping reach that's letting him down. For £7.5 million, it's silly money, okay? One of the things that our board wanted us to do was to sign players from German sides, and I went, okay, fine, we're going to do it. So this is what we've done. John Mullen is an American striker. £7.5 million is certainly too much money. Definitely one for the future, but might get the odd game time here or there, particularly now that Silas has left, although Silas was a right winger. Maybe Mullen becomes a right winger and gets loads of game time. Who knows? And keeping up the trend of overpaying for players based in Germany, Marco Nicoli is an 18-year-old under-20 international signed from Schalke. He has cost a whopping £10.25 million. I don't think he's going to go any higher than that, but he's worth £40 to £49 million. So I think it's justified spending that money because he's actually 4 times more expensive now once we brought him to the club. So that's good. Oh, and it gets even more ridiculous. Yannick Schapendonk is a Dutch goalkeeper. It's also an amazing name. He is signed from PSV, formerly of Oxford United, on a little loan spell, for £23 million. We'll come back to Schapendonk in a minute because I know the question you're asking, but you've got Simon or whatever his name is. Yeah, we nearly didn't. And finally, for £25 million, we have signed George Ilenikena? Maybe could be his name. He is 20. He was 19, when we brought him. Not 18, that's not how time works. He was 19 when we signed him. He's turned 20 once we joined the club, basically. I think this could be a much better striker than Diao, who we had playing there last season. So we've done maybe some rearranging of positions. So Dennis, the 20-year-old, who obviously is our number one goalkeeper because he's absolutely ridiculous. Nearly left the club in the summer because he has a minimum fee release, and I didn't even realise this, of about £4 million. And everyone was triggering it. Every single English club was triggering it. I think a whole bunch of German teams were doing it, a few Italian, a few Spanish. All the teams were triggering his minimum fee release. And I was like, oh no, we need a goalkeeper. We need a new number one goalkeeper. Hence signing Schapendonk. And then I basically went, what am I doing? Just offer him a new contract. And he accepted the new contract. He does still have a minimum fee release, £16 million. But that's much, much better than I think it was £4.6 million is what it was initially. And that's just not acceptable. If we were going to sell him, I'd rather get 50% of a future sale as well. But we've got now 2 really good goalkeepers in the shape of Seaman and Schapendonk. And before we talk about the fixtures and the results so far, I just want to draw your attention to Atakan Karazor, the Turkish 29-year-old. He will be turning 30 in a month and a bit in-game. I have set a rule for myself that once the initial transfer window closes, I cannot have any 30-year-olds in my team. In January, I'm not necessarily going to sell Karazor. I might sell him if something comes in good, because obviously we do need to sell him anyway in Season 3, but I don't have to if I don't want to. Now, you would think, because we are not in any form of international or European competition, things would be going well. We have started horrendously in the Bundesliga. We have beaten Hertha 4-1, but we have lost against Bayer and Werder Bremen, down in 15th place initially. And then at the DFB Pokal, we have a game up against Regensburg, I'm not quite sure how that's pronounced. We should obviously win that one. I'd like to win the DFB Pokal sooner rather than later. So we do need to turn things around. So now we're going to jump forward then to the 1st of January. The transfer window will open. Obviously, we can do transfer business in January if we really want to. Let's see how things go in the first half of the season. That's much better. We have turned things around, and in fact, we are now all the way up into 4th place in the table. Lots and lots of zeros. Lots of goals scored, not many goals conceded. 3 draws, 2 of them being 0-0s as well. And then 4 defeats, obviously, including the Bayer and the Werder one. We've lost to Freiburg and Bayern Munich, which is kind of acceptable. It does mean, though, does that mean we've beaten Leipzig? Have we beaten Leipzig? No, we've not played Leipzig. Okay, we've not played Leipzig, but that's fine. We've lost all the teams ahead of us? Maybe? I don't know. What am I on about? Yeah, we've not actually played Leipzig yet. We play them on the 10th of January. That's fair enough. Okay, that makes sense. Elsewhere, the DFB Pokal, we are into the quarterfinal once again. So the board are happy because that's where they want us to get to. How did we do in the first round? We beat Auerbach just 4-1. We then beat Regensburg 1-0. We then beat Hertha 2-0. Setting up a quarterfinal match against Borussia Dortmund, a match that inevitably we are probably going to lose that one. So at the start of the new year, with a transfer window open, a transfer budget of £81 million to spend. We're not spending all of it. I'm not sure how much we're going to spend. We're probably going to spend maybe, let's say £20 million. It's probably going to be if we can get some squad players. I don't think we're going to be able to get too many players who are going to improve the starting 11, but maybe some squad players and obviously players for the future, because they do need to be 19 or under. So let's jump to the end of January, a few days into February most likely, and see what we've done. First of all, what we've done in the league is we've not moved anywhere. We have lost an additional match, the match against Leipzig. So every single team ahead of us, we have lost. And then obviously Freiburg and Werder as well. We've got a few draws and then 11 victories, including a 3-0 victory against Bayern Munich. That's good. We are joint on points with Frankfurt and Wolfsburg, Borussia Dortmund are not too far behind. HSV and Mainz also not massively far behind either. In fact, even Werder down in 10th, not too far behind. There is only 8 points between 10th and 4th place. In fact, 9 points between 10th and 3rd place. Anyway, it's a transfer window, and obviously you are here to see what transfers we have done. In fact, 2 bits of business have taken place. First of all, Jovan Milosevic has moved on a loan to FC Lorient. He basically wasn't playing. Definitely one for the future. We are getting paid for him as well, which is quite nice to see. He's played 9 matches, scored 3, a few games last season as well, scoring just twice. So he's not really getting the game time, and sending him out to Ligue 1 will hopefully get some game time for him. And we've got one player joining the club as well. For £13.25 million, we have Robson Borges, who is a Brazilian at 19 years old, capped at under 23 level, central attacking midfielder and left winger. I think he's good. I mean, he's 2.5-star current ability, which is actually pretty decent. He's worth 13 to £13.5 million. So clearly, I didn't necessarily overpay for him. I think he's good. I'm quite happy with Robson Borges. And overall, this season, we've only spent £87 million. We've got £58 million has also left, or joined the club, from various players leaving. Want to just quickly show you, Karazor, I did kind of try and sell him, okay? I have transfer listed him. Nobody actually wanted to bring him in January. It's fine. He is going to be going in the summer. I'm not quite sure how or when, but Karazor will be leaving in the summer. And I think that's all we're going to need to do. Because, yeah, you've just turned 29, so you've still got another season technically playing for us. Everyone else is fine. And then especially when you look at VfB Stuttgart 2, the oldest player is just 23 years old. So we have cleared out all the old players. We are going to get very close within, 4 seasons' time. That's all we're going to have to worry about. Milio should be fine. Obviously, if we're doing 10 seasons, this is season 2, so we've got 8 more seasons to go. He's going to be 32 by the season 10, so we will get rid of Milio. I think all of these players will leave the club at some point, but no, everyone else under that doesn't have to leave the club. They could stay here until the end of 10 seasons. Right, then the next thing to do is to jump to the end of the season. Can we qualify for the Champions League? And also, can we win the DFB Pokal? Well, we're going to answer the second question immediately, and no, we can't, because we lose 2-1 against Borussia Dortmund, a Borussia Dortmund side that made it all the way to the final, but did lose against RB Leipzig. However, in the Bundesliga, we have finished 3rd place, just 3 points behind Leipzig as well. We have qualified for the Champions League, and I imagine because we are in the top 4 leagues, I will just double check, we should be going straight into the group stage. We do go straight into the league phase. So there's no qualifying round for us. That is absolutely perfect. Some very good wins there. 5-1 against Leipzig, 6-1 as well against BMG. Anyone else near the top of the list beating Bayer, who have finished in 5th place. Dortmund finishing in 4th. We beat them 2-1 as well. And also our new striker, Elenikena, still not sure if that's how it's said, is the top goal scorer in the league. Just having a quick double check. Are the board happy? They do seem pretty happy. We have obviously qualified for better. They wanted us to qualify for the Europa Conference League. We've qualified for the Champions League. So that's obviously very good. They want us to sign players based in Germany, which it's not easy to do. They're quite expensive. The supporters are obviously also quite happy for us, which is always nice to see as well. From a youth intake perspective, we have got a few players, but one man stands out. It is Belmin Striegel. Is he any good, though? I mean, he's got some numbers. He's certainly got some numbers in some places, which is a ridiculous thing to say. But is he good? I like his mental numbers. The determination 17 is good. Work rate 13 is not amazing, but it's not terrible either. He's got some decent-ish technical numbers with the first touch, and the technique's not massively high, but high enough for a 15-year-old. Maybe Striegel is a player that we need to keep an eye on. We've also got Andre Volk, who, he's a footballer. Luis Kabongo, he doesn't look too bad. I'd say he's more of a centre-back than a full-back. Nick Ack, if we can click on him, there we go. Nick Ack is, he's a footballer. Sure, Frin Beran, he looks okay. I don't know why. I feel like the technical and the speed is throwing me off here. But he's looking kind of okay. We've also got Khan Isik, who is a central midfielder. Again, doesn't look horrendous. We've got Friedel, another central midfielder. And we've got Sebatin Tash, who, again, he looks more of a centre-back, but then again, he's 5'11". Why have we signed this guy? Who agreed that one? So, just taking a very quick look at the squad, I've sorted this by goals scored. We have 3 clear players making a massive impact. We have Enzo Milio, who is 24, so he is still a child, scoring 12 league goals. He is wanted by Al Ittihad. There could be some big money coming our way. Diao actually still scoring a lot of goals, getting 13 goals. Where has he been playing? He's been playing on the right-hand side and the left, actually, so that's obviously good. And Ilenik Henna has been our lead striker, scoring 21 goals. That was a sensible transfer. I'm happy with that transfer. I was worried that 25 million was too much. I did look at his stats, kind of moneyballed it slightly by looking how well he did for Antwerp and thought maybe he can kind of replicate that for us. He has, which is good, and he's still only 20. And as I did mention earlier, we only have one player that we need to sell in the summer, and that is Karazor. I might look at selling Furic if we need to. Both of these players combined have played 61 times for us this season, which is a lot of matches that we need to try and replace. So we might need, we're going to need another defence midfielder. That's a struggle. Genuinely, we are struggling with defence midfielders. We've got Di Benedetto, who is very good, and I think we've actually been playing. I'm just looking literally at the appearances here. So Di Benedetto would have played a lot. Of course, it's going to be Karazor. So those two were our main defence midfielders. So Karazor will be leaving. We desperately need a new defence midfielder, unless one of these centre-backs pushes up to be a defence midfielder. Maybe season 3 is the year of Mikel Gonzalez as a defence midfielder. I don't think he's going to be good there, but maybe this is just what we need to do. Just try and unlock some of that potential. Well, season 2 then is in the bag, and we've qualified for the Champions League, which means season 3 is going to be an interesting one, especially with nearly £80 million worth of transfer budget to spend, and only one player who is going to be 30 years old that we need to get rid of in the summer.